Recording in progress.
All right, what's going on?
What up? What up, T Money? How are you?
We doing good. We got the one and only, the greatest TLT of all time in the
That's
house.
me. How is the stock market? I haven't checked the stock market in quite some time. Is it good, bad, ugly?
I think it bounced back at
Do,
least halfway, right? Halfway
do,
from
do you
the.
even look at stocks anymore? We met Tyler in a stock market penny trading, whatever they're called. Remember that? And you don't even look as much, huh? You just chill.
No, I mainly look at real estate related things all day, but occasionally I'll look at a stock chart and
So
see
you
what's
broke
going
you
on.
broke the stock addiction. I think it's safe
I
to say,
did.
yeah.
I didn't think that was possible,
No,
but
you
it
did. Yeah, I'm
apparently
proud
is.
of you. You're on the road to recovery. You're probably what, 7 years sober now, at least.
Sober from day trading? No,
Day
it's been
trading.
longer than that.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
really?
probably been
Wow. Good for you.
like close to 10 years at this point.
Nice. Do
Is there
you
like a
have a
special coin I get
long-term
for that?
trading account? You have like a platform that you just buy stock and hold, or what? Where are you at with your stock career?
I do have a long term. You got to have a long term. So
I
yeah,
cashed mine out. Mine's gone. I bought some
no
property
long
with
term.
it. Yeah, no long
Well, I
term.
mean, no, you got property though.
Yeah, yeah.
That's part of your long term.
Yeah. What's funny is that, long story short, I have an investor who used his 401k to invest in the property with me, and he's like so ecstatic because the market basically dropped during that time. So he would have lost like $75,000 if he just kept his money in there. But luckily, he gave it to me, and now he's going to make a 14% return. So he basically said, keep it, so I can roll that 200 grand into a next project once we close escrow. So it's
Oh,
kind of,
nice.
yeah,
So he's lending money on a project you got.
yeah, off his 401k, off his IRA. Isn't that cool? I didn't know you
Oh
could even
yeah.
do that.
Yeah, there's companies I've seen. I used to go to like investor meetups, and there's like some guys that do that, and they would kind of let you know about it. So
Nice.
that's cool.
Yeah, I have no idea who's in here. It just looks like me and you, but I'm sure there's a room full of people. I'm sure Tim Whitman's here. Is Tim here? No?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
Tim,
here.
There we
he's
go.
there.
I
There he
hear his
is. What's
voice.
up,
I
Tim?
hear his voice. I don't see anyone. I just see myself and then Tyler from time to time. Maybe it's a setting on my screen here. Do you see everyone, Jason?
You
Jason's
only
here.
see who talks.
There we go. Oh, okay. I can only see who talks. I don't like that. I want to see everyone. How do we change that? Is that a Tyler setting or my setting? Let's see.
I can change on my side. Maybe
See.
your side. I mean, I can make you co-host. Maybe that helps. Let
No,
me
it's just on
see.
the top right there. You click
Top right.
view,
Oh, we got a
and
Zoom
then you click
professional.
multi-speaker. Yeah.
Oh, he just hung up on him. No? Okay. Well, we tried. Look, I got a cell phone on here. It's okay. There's people there. That's all I care about. I'm not just talking into thin air. But today's topic, Tyler, and you can help me with this topic, is the top 5 things I've learned in real estate that are horrible. Basically, things not to do. But you could jump in there too, and then all the rest of you guys and girls who are in this can interject along the way with your think of one. I want to hear from almost everyone in here of one thing that you personally hate in real estate, and just because I have brand new agents on here, I have agents who are watching or people who are watching who want to be agents. So I want to give them the fair warning, right? My Instagrams don't buy real estate. I still believe you should buy real estate, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't just buy it to buy because it is a hassle. It's not for the faint of heart. And I think real estate's kind of the same way. But to segue from that, Tyler, and you can give me your number one, but my number one thing I hate about real estate is that there's just so many hands in the pot. This could be just me venting, but you have a buyer's agent, you have a seller's agent, you have an escrow officer, a title rep, an inspector, a termite company. You have a buyer, you have a seller, you have a lender. What am I missing? You have a TC. There's so many people that you have to communicate with, and that kind of makes my life a living hell. Just dealing with so many different people. And don't forget, you have the banks, right? You have banks that you have to deal with. And then there's communication between all these parties, and everyone has to stay on the same page. And it's like a game of telephone where someone says something and it goes to the next person. But in real estate, it seems like the telephone's always broken and no one is able to get on the same page. So Tyler and I talked about this the other day. It's like pick up the phone. Everyone get on the same page. We're making introductions. We're introducing you to sellers, buyers, lenders. Where's the disconnect, Tyler? And so that's kind of my number one pet peeve in the real estate. And the solution, I don't want to make this like a venting session. Well, it could be. It could be at the end of the day. But the solution is to pick up your phone, in my opinion, is to make sure your lines of communication are open, perfect, and communicating. You don't want to be that guy who doesn't respond to emails, to text messages. I have a phobia of people with unread messages and text. Like you look at their screen and it says 200 unread text messages. That'll give me anxiety for days. Like just to think about, I don't even want to text that person. So the solution is to make sure you're not that guy. Make sure you're following up with people in a timely manner. Make sure you're going after it all, and making the lines of communication as open as possible. So that's my number one problem and solution, Tyler. What do you got for me?
On that note, I would say like take a step beyond just answering your phone because we say that all the time. Like, hey, you should be responsive. You should answer your phone. And like for those of you guys who aren't like as active in the business day to day, it's the funniest thing. But I kid you not, like if I look at the people, even just on the team, out of 80 people, if I look at the ones that are easiest to get on the phone, it's so counterintuitive, but it's literally the people that have the most deals going on. They're the easiest ones to get on the phone.
Interesting.
Whereas the people that are hardest to get on the phone, uh, not everyone that doesn't have a lot of deals going on is like this, but like across the board, on average, those who are hardest to get on the phone are the ones that have the least business going on. So it's just kind of interesting to see that dynamic. Again, not 100%. There are some people that haven't yet built up the business that are very responsive. So I'll acknowledge anyone who's hearing that, like Tyler. No, I'm responsive. I'm like, I see you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But I would take it a step further and say that it's not just about you being responsive, it's you taking initiative, and kind of taking ownership of the fact that communication's up to you. It's not just up to you to respond when someone's reaching out to you, but you got to be the one that makes a call happen. I think it's too easy sometimes. Like we're always trying to schedule stuff. Like we'll be emailing back and forth, hey, what day was good for you? Well, I mean, what happens if they don't respond to that email? Like for me, I'm just going to pick up the phone and call. Like, honestly, it's easier for me to just pick up the phone and call than just to write an email to try to coordinate things if I already got the phone number. It's like, what happens? They miss it. And then I text, hey, when can we hop on a quick call? To me, that's easier than writing an email, but I don't know if everyone's like that. So,
Yeah, I think it's all personality based, but I know that in every industry, picking up the phone is kind of fading out of the picture. From tech support to the dentist office to like my dentist the other day wanted me to book an appointment online. I was on the phone with them. Like I was like, why can't I just book it right now with you? I don't want to go through a portal or register, but I think that's what they want us to do, right? They want us to go through a portal and get hit with a click funnel or this or that. They want all our information without really asking for it. But at the end of the day, I think you're right. You just have to pick up the phone and make sure everyone's on the same page. It'll reduce the stress by maybe 50% in real estate, in life, really. If there's a miscommunication with a friend, family member, boyfriend, girlfriend, communicate, pick up the phone, figure it out before it gets too drawn out, and then chaos ensues. So just make sure you guys understand that that's the number one issue is so many people in the pot, and the number one solution is to pick up your phone and make sure everyone's on the same page. All right, you want to talk about number two? My number two thing I hate, or what I've learned in real estate, is there's a lot of paperwork. And so I have a transaction coordinator. I'm sure all you guys have transaction coordinators, and they're probably the best $500 that you'll ever spend on anything. I have a guy who edits videos and this and that. By far, hands down, transaction coordinator is the best investment. So the number two issue is lots of paperwork. Number two solution is get a good transaction coordinator. And there's plenty of them. There's websites out there if you can't find one. Ask Tyler for a referral. Tyler's got a Rolodex. If you don't know what a Rolodex is, it's a list of people that you can reach out to and hire them for their transaction coordinator services. But the paperwork, and I know it's different in every single state, every city, for the most part, Tyler, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a bunch of legal mumbo jumbo. Like there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make sense to anyone there.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's crazy too. I almost like forgot the extent like we actually like in the licensing process, you learn
Oh, yeah.
about so much of the legal mumbo jumbo that you literally never will hear about beyond that point. I know this because I actually was helping someone recently. This isn't something I ever do, but recently I was helping someone study for their real estate exam, and I'm like reviewing the questions, and like I straight up said like three different times like I don't even know what this means. Like I don't like I saw one word, I'm like I'm pretty sure I've never heard this word before. I have no idea what that means. And it's not because I'm ignorant, it's because like it's just not part of what we do.
Yeah.
Like there are legitimately a ton of things you learn in the licensing process that you will never need to know beyond that point. It's the craziest thing. But yeah, you're right. It kind of goes back to the paperwork. I mean, do you really need to be an expert at that? I mean, if you are, it's not going to help you make a lot of money in this business. I'll tell you that. If anything, maybe you'll be someone who could be good on the paperwork side of things. Maybe you'd be a good TC. That's not always someone who's going to be a top producer.
Yeah. I think the California contract, the residential purchase contract, has over 14 pages just on the actual purchase contract, and then they stacked on like addendums and different disclosures. So in total, I think it's over 21 pages right now of just a purchase contract. How many pages is like a Texas contract? Do you know, Tyler? We lost him.
Oh, I'm muted.
Oh, okay.
I think it's 12. I honestly haven't looked at one in a little while, but I believe it's 12 pages.
Tyler's living the life of the rich and famous EXP leader. He hasn't looked at a purchase. I've looked at a purchase contract like 12 times today, Tyler. We got to get you back in front of the contracts and knowing this stuff. I think that's one of the things I hate is the contracts, right? But to your point, you're like, do you need to memorize all this stuff? I would say memorize most of it, right? I wanted to be the best at contracts back in the day because I was able to navigate through a contract successfully and take advantage of certain agents who didn't know the contract. So, for example, we have an earnest money deposit here in California. I think you guys call it what do you guys call it there, where you have that fee down and you get a refund?
Oh no, you got earnest money and you got option money.
Option money. Yeah, option money. So our earnest money, we don't have option money. So our earnest money basically is in the contract to secure both parties. It's pointless. If you know the contract, you know that putting down a deposit is kind of pointless. There's no real purpose behind it unless you remove your contingencies. And contingencies are riddled throughout this contract that we have in California. Last I counted, and this was probably 2 years ago, there's probably 17 different contingencies alone. So that's inspection periods, disclosure periods, appraisal, loan, HOA docs, title docs. The list goes on and on. Those are all your earnest money's contingent on all those being cleared and signed off. So if I know that as an agent because I studied the contract and I know the verbiage and how it's used, I will never advise my client to release contingencies until closing day. And I've done that several times because agents just don't push the envelope. So if I'm on the other side, what am I doing? I'm forcing that buyer to get those contingencies removed. So on both sides of the table, if I knew the contract, which I do, I'm able to kind of flex some muscle that makes me look a little bit better with my buyers or sellers. When it's with selling listing agents, as a listing agent, I'm getting that earnest money deposit released within 10 days or less. What does that do? It just gives my seller peace of mind, lets him focus on his next move. He just made 10 grand. The contract releases that deposit. But at the end of the day, as a buyer's agent, I wait and wait and wait just to protect my seller. So the document part of things is just a headache. It's a nightmare. I would say study it to a certain extent. If you're in a state like California that has 21 pages or whatever it is, I would study it. I wouldn't spend too much time on it because that's more of a transaction coordinator's position. But I would know the ins and outs of everything for sure.
Yeah, you should know your contracts for sure. Like just the key is to know like what goes in the blanks. Like what does this mean? You know,
Yep.
to the extent you know that, you'll be golden. So, and that's probably the best thing I did to learn the contracts is like I made a template, you know, so like early on because I was trying to figure out like how the heck do I know how to fill one of these out when a client needs something. So I got with you know, because I didn't even have like a mentor. I mean, what's cool like today is like I mean, we can pair you up with the mentor in your local area if you're getting our help with everything. But you know, back when I got started, I didn't really have any of that, so I had to kind of like ask around and try to see who would help me. And I was able to. I can't remember who helped me with it, but someone was able to help me like review a contract and like just you know help me like basically graded me on how I filled it out and told me everything I did wrong. And then I took those notes and then I had a template from there on out of like, okay, I kind of know how to fill this out. But it all came down to like knowing, okay, what actually does this mean? What goes in the blank? What's like, you know, what would be something considered maybe normal for the area? And then you kind of know that as a basis, and then you can help like guide clients through it with you know what the key things are, including the contingencies. Very important to know about all the different contingencies and ways out of a contract, especially representing the buyers, then also you know helping sellers prepare when something's offered and kind of help gauge you know what's good, what's not good, what's strong, what's weak, all that good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. What was your number 2 hated thing in real estate? I gave you mine. Do you have another one, or is it more contracts? Are you just going to piggyback off of mine?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on communication being number one. Number two, yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest, I've never been the biggest fan of paperwork, so I think I'll agree with you on that. Like, to me, it's always been um, it's just like the time it takes to kind of like, you know, deal with it, and especially the back and forth, like, you know, negotiations. It's like, okay, we gotta, you know, correct this, or we gotta, like, yeah, I just was never a fan. I can think of a lot of scenarios where it's just like, you know, I had something else to do with my day, and then I'm back at my computer and have, you know, like people waiting on me, wondering why I'm not like showing up somewhere. It's because I'm working on this document here. So yeah, I've never been a fan of that part of the business.
Yeah. So my number 3 is the different types of brokerages/brokers. So one thing I learned is early on, right? You get your license, you find a mentor, you join their brokerage, and then what, right? Luckily now, I mean, I wish there was like a EXP type of brokerage 22 years ago when I first started, but there wasn't. There was mom and pop brokerages. There were the Century 21s, the Remax. Those were kind of the bigger names. You would join one of the mom and pops or a Remax or a Century 21, and then you would just sit there in your cubicle waiting for literally, and I think they still do this today, Tyler, these older brokerages, they have people with phone duties. So you sit down at this desk, you're basically the front desk collecting phone calls of people who might be reaching out from random drive-bys or calling the signs or whatever. And that's how you would generate your leads. And my biggest pet peeve number 3 is, and what I've learned is that not all brokerages are created equally. If I had to start all over, I would say anyone who's a brand new agent needs to get, and Tyler's probably going to hate this, but needs to get on a team who has access to like the EXP, Real, or LPT downline model. You just have to do that now because look at me, I'm 40. Dang, I'm 40. It's crazy to say. My sister said I need sunscreen. I was like, oh, thanks, bro. But anyways, I'm 40, and if I started with the downline, say whenever EXP first started, where would I be, Tyler? You think I would have, say, 2,000 agents?
I mean that's like a trick question right there because like
It's not a trick. Let's reword it. Would I have
No,
made money along the way in the last 12 years of just having a downline? Like I would have supplemental income regardless.
oh well yeah.
Yeah.
I mean I think you specifically would, but like does that apply to like it depends what you do with the opportunity. That's really what I was getting
I
at
think
with
it could, just based on, like, just say I'm a brand new agent, just started yesterday. I would join EXP tomorrow, one of these models, right? And then I would go tell, I'm probably 20 at this point, 21, really gung-ho about getting licensed. And then I would go tell two of my friends who are seeing my short-term success, my one-day success on the phones. I'm getting leads, I'm posting on social. This is just day one. I would call my friend Jason and be like, hey man, this stuff is cool. This is how it works. Go get licensed. And then I would put him on my downline. Right, he might produce, he might not, but I would still actively try to recruit my younger generation of friends. I think it's a little older at like 45 to like call my friend and be like, hey man, you should get into real estate. Here's how you get licensed. But when I was 20, it was like pretty easy. I personally got, I would say 100 people into the game when I was 20 to 24, just based on my energy and my excitement of the real estate industry. And so I would recommend that for anyone starting off who's under 30 is to join a team who's going to teach you how to do stuff and then have access to a downline so you can start building that nationwide, especially with social media. But staying away from mom and pop brokerages, it sounds bad, but unless they provide you with massive amounts of value by leads, marketing, branding, tech, there's no real point in going there. They're taking 20% of your commission anyways with no added value. Let's say they just give you leads, Tyler. Maybe if they're giving you consistent lead flow, that's good quality leads.
I've never met someone where that I've talked to a lot of people. I've never met someone that the only exception would be like someone who was a part of a traditional local team that had something that the team leader specifically was doing to invest into lead flow. But I've never heard of a situation where the actual brokerage was doing that. Not once have I ever heard that.
Yeah, and that's the thing that people don't tell new hires or new agents, sorry, is that there's no secret sauce, right? We all know what to do to generate business. Unless you're buying leads as a brokerage. I worked at a small brokerage, right? They were buying Realtor.com leads before, and they were spending $25,000 to $30,000 a month on Realtor.com leads, which is fantastic for me because I was just sitting there answering all the phones and making sure I converted those leads at 10 to 15%. That worked, Tyler. That was the one benefit of joining that team until it wasn't. Until the guy goes, hey, we're not converting. There's 3 other people on the team who are taking leads and they're not converting. Now this 30,000 budget's cut in half to 15. Now you're fighting with 2 other agents, 3 other agents trying to get every lead. Now the budget's slashed to 5. Now all of a sudden the real estate division, Department of Real Estate changes the way commission's made, and now you have to sign an agreement before you even show a house. And so now Realtor.com leads are basically archaic. So it could be fun and dandy until it's not fine and dandy. But I need everyone to do their research before they go out there and sign with the brokerage. But at the end of the day, the mom and pop shops sometimes don't have all the resources that some of the bigger EXP, LPT, Reels do.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, like to your point too on the like it doesn't hurt to have additional opportunity because like with as you said at the downline, that's an opportunity that in all the traditional models like the Remaxes, KWs, etc. like that opportunity exists, but it's not for the agent. It's for the person that buys into the franchise. It's for the person that gets into leadership. It's not for your conventional agent, not even for your top producing agent.
Yep.
That's not for them, but it's for someone else within it. So I mean, yeah, it's kind of like more the entrepreneurial model is to put that opportunity, to give it to the agents, kind of like how all these other cloud-based companies in different industries figure out how to give more opportunity, more choices to the people.
Yeah. And just do your research, right? As a new agent, as a current agent. I know I said it's harder for people who are above 40 to build a downline. I mean, that might not be true. Just depends on what you're looking to do in your life. But
Well, I'd actually, I don't know if I agree with you on that because, like, the people that I've seen have built, like, it's usually the people that have the most life experience that have built,
Mm.
like, the largest groups from what I've seen. There's actually not a lot of people I can think of who are super young who have built a really large group. So
But
I
what if
think
it's
that,
day one? I'm talking day one. Today's day one of their real estate career. It's a lot harder as a 40-year-old, right? Probably a lot harder without a game plan to really grow that downline unless you get a couple years in and you build that storyline. But I could be wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, I know that the downline is the revenue that was missing in real estate over the last 100 years of real estate, basically. If that exists a lot sooner, I think a lot more people would still be in the game. A lot more people would be bringing in recurring revenue, and everyone would be chilling. I think that's kind of what was missing, and I don't like these other brokerages. I do because their competition is exposing what the downline really does, and that brings in income for people, where a small mom and pop shop doesn't have that.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's something where, like, I mean, you've got to have a pathway to build something. I think most of us here probably get into real estate where we see the opportunity to position ourselves for the long term, which obviously owning property is the way you do that. But like if you're going to be working as a professional in the business, getting a lot of sales done, helping a lot of people, families, investors in the process, wouldn't it be cool if like at the end of that you could have built something that's still working for you? And that's where, I mean, it's nothing new in terms of that model, like to the world of business. Like there's been massive businesses built off of that kind of model where you have the opportunity to build a sales organization. That's something, I think it started in the insurance industry like 100 years ago or something like that. And then you got all these big insurance companies with sales reps out there doing all the work and making connections with people. But like, there's a lot of people that built something in that kind of model, and then there's others that came along. And I mean, it seems like real estate's a really natural fit for it because like you're literally dealing with like house sales, you're dealing with property, you're dealing with real assets. You're not dealing with something like made up that you're trying to convince people that they need that maybe they don't really need. So anyway, I feel like it's a really natural fit for what we do, but for whatever reason, it took a while for it to really be a big opportunity for the agent. It wasn't really until these cloud-based companies came around, which still is relatively recent because prior, like it was just too cost heavy. You got all the bricks and mortar fixed over. There wasn't really enough money for it to be a substantial opportunity for the agent.
I think that's kind of one of my other pet peeves with some of these cloud-based models. They're great nationwide, worldwide. There's just the office dynamic has shifted, right? You miss that in a way. I think all of these companies need to have certain hubs. I think EXP does, but certain hubs in different major cities so people can get together and agents can brainstorm and deals can be kind of given out and talked about. That's why I like going to networking events because those deals happen there. Like I meet people at networking events all the time. I don't know if I told you the story yet, but I meet a person who manages rentals for a construction company. So they go nationwide construction. Anytime they get a job or a contract, that guy's responsibility is to house the 300 construction workers that are going to, say, Pittsburgh or LA. Coincidentally, I told him I had 7 properties, and at that very time, he had a construction crew coming to San Diego for 6 months. And these homes were vacant. I was trying to sell them, couldn't sell them. He basically offered me $6,500 per home, which we took 2 out of the 7 and we turned them into rentals because that helped pay for the mortgage, right? We turned a negative into a positive. But I would have never found that if I wasn't at a networking event. There's a lot of deals in real estate that could happen if there was some sort of hub or office setting. I know EXP has the cloud-based stuff. Be in there, right? That's as close as you're going to get.
The point with the cloud-based stuff though, it's not necessarily to network. Like that happens at other places. The cloud-based, like that's to get help when you need it. That's to like talk to your broker team, your support staff, your transaction team. Like it's to streamline all of that, but like it's not, I don't think it was ever, while you could technically network in there, I don't think that was really the big vision uh to do it that way. I think at the end of the day, like networking is in person. And so, that's where you got to just seize the opportunity to get in the room with people. That's why, like I make it a point. I've always made it a point with the team ever since I recognized the value of getting to events. Which that's something, that's one thing I wish I learned sooner was like really the value of getting in the right rooms with the right people, like physically getting into the room. Because it took me a few years to really experience that myself and recognize just how worthwhile it is to like make it a point to get somewhere when there's a great opportunity. Like for instance, we have regional events coming up. Anyone on the team, we got something called regional rallies. Get to that. Like, like I'm a big believer in the value you'll get because you're going to meet a lot of top producing people, a lot of big leaders. See Prisma's going. That's what's up. So yeah, like I'd figure out which one's near you and get in the room. Because it's so worthwhile doing. It took me a few years to figure that out, but it goes to what you're saying. It's like, yeah, there is a lot of value in the point isn't to remove that. The point's to like make it to where it's not something that you're having. Because like I even think back to when I got started, I literally joined the number one producing office in my area with KW, the biggest office. I just figured it was the place to go at the time because it was the one place I saw that had the biggest presence, the biggest. I felt like they had the most to offer. I didn't know about any other kind of structures like these cloud-based ones we're talking about at that time. They, for all intents and purposes, didn't exist. This was 2015. Um, but even then, even in 2015, years before COVID, thinking back to it, hardly anyone used the office. And there were 800 agents this office was there to serve. I didn't see, like, the only people I ever saw in the office were other people that were just like me trying to figure out what the heck to do. It was all the other people I saw in the like first month's training. Those were the people I would see in the office. I hardly ever saw any of the top producers. It was like a ghost town, and this was like an 800 agent office in 2015. Can you imagine like post COVID what it's like at most of these
Probably
places?
shut
Like,
down at this point, probably.
so it's not that there's no value. Obviously, if you got like a weekly meeting that people get together, like yeah, that's a great place to connect. But I don't think it's really the goal of the newer structure here to remove that. It's just it's done in a different way now. Now instead we got different events that are put on in different places, and then just the bigger communities we have locally, like there tends to be some leader that puts something into motion. Like there's a group in South Texas. I've been working with one of the team members to build this group up now, but he's now got 8 agents in his local group. And guess what he does? He facilitates a meeting every single week. He's always got something he's prepared because he's a mentor. He's learned a lot. He's done, probably 100 deals in the last 4 years since he's gotten licensed, and so he has a lot of things to share. But he's the guy that organizes that. So there's a place every single week that people who are in that area they get together. There's always at least 5 or 6 of them that show up, and they have that experience. But everyone can do that locally. You can either get involved with something like that, or if there isn't something like that, we can build it around you. And that's what we've been doing with a few people on the
I like
team.
it. That's awesome. So that was our top three. I have 2 more to go, but let's open it up to some. I saw Built by Bailey's in the house. I saw Prisma. I saw Whitman. Kevin Wells got to be in here. Kevin Wells is always in here, right? Give me one. Give me one. One thing you hate about real estate that we haven't mentioned from somebody. Who do we got? Maybe I do need sunscreen. Nobody, Tyler?
Who's got something? Y'all love everything about real estate? Is that what's going on?
I got one for you.
Built by
What's up,
Bailey.
Shane?
Title companies.
Ooh, the worst.
Title companies are terrible now. They will delay me probably 70% of the time at this point on a closing for one reason or another.
Do you think they'll ever go blockchain or something along those lines? Because title work's not that difficult, right?
It shouldn't be. No.
Yeah. Funny story. I was in escrow on the property in Austin, Texas, just last week or 2 weeks ago. It was in foreclosure. There was an auction. This was 3 weeks ago, I guess. Auction was April 2nd or whatever that Tuesday was. In Austin, Texas, we're in contract. We're closing on it. Title was delayed for whatever reason, and they're like, "Oh, don't worry, we'll just close tomorrow." Long story short, it was sold to auction that day, and they didn't even know. And so we come to close, and we go to the house for a walkthrough, and there's someone already demoing the property, and we're like, "What are you guys doing?" I didn't, but it's whoever went there. And he called me and he said, "Hey, there's someone who bought the property yesterday at auction, and they're already starting with demo." And we call the title company back, and they're like, "No, that's impossible. Right here, we see this, this, and this." Long story short, they called the county or whoever's the recorder's office, and sure enough, it was sold in auction, and I wasted 3 weeks of my life trying to close on this deal. But yeah, I think title, I don't know why, but title's just getting worse, and I think it needs to be replaced by the blockchain or something. We need Elon. Am I allowed to say that on YouTube?
So wait a second. So the person who sold you the property got it foreclosed and it sold at auction while y'all were under contract?
Yep. Cool,
And
huh?
there's nothing you can do?
Nothing I could do.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I had a good deal on it too. Yeah, whatever. So I'm going to cry just thinking about it. Poor execution. We picked the wrong title company. We didn't move fast enough. It's not anyone else's fault except mine. I'll take full responsibility. But at the end of the day, if this title company would have just done their job correctly and we closed on time, we would have eliminated this interesting story that I have now for the rest of my life. But yeah, I like Built by Bailey's title companies. Sometimes I just wonder. I have, is Emmanuel in here? Emmanuel's in here, right? Or no? No. I have
Manny Fresh? I don't see him here.
I have a
actually.
deal with him right now that it's a fixer in Houston, humble Houston. Same thing. Title didn't order the payoffs. It's in pre-foreclosure. Luckily, we have time, but we check in on Friday. She hasn't ordered the HOA demand. She hasn't ordered the first or second demands from the lender. It's like, what have you been doing for the last 14 days? Let's get to move on. We got a foreclosure that we're working on to kind of stop. So, yeah, I feel it every single day. So I feel you, Built by Bailey's. I like that.
Who else has one? What do you not like about real estate?
This is your
Hi
venting
Tyler,
hour.
this is Amandeep. I'm from Charlotte. I don't like the way, we have inspection report came in and then we have to put the repair order in. Man, I just try to do this. I hoop through two different systems with the inspection companies, and I still unable to figure out how to do that repair report for one of that. And I'm talking to my mentor, and she's gonna help me out tomorrow. We're gonna do the repair report for the property that we're gonna already have under contract now.
Sounds like fun. Sounds like good old real estate. Good old real estate.
Yeah, so inspections, and yeah, like that's a whole nother negotiation. I guess depending on what side of it you're on, that could be more fun than not, depending on the situation, right?
I'm
I,
right now.
I
I'm
sent Tree. Is Tree here? Tree's listing a house referral that I sent over. They did the inspection today, this morning. The inspector went over there and notated mold around the windowsill. My seller luckily was home, and the inspector was like, "Hey, you got some mold here." He goes over to the window, takes like a wet, damp towel and wipes it off. It was just dust. Like, that could have just derailed the whole thing. If you say mold on an inspection, now you're talking drywall, mold remediation. You're talking the works, right? So yeah, home inspections are tough, and I think as real estate agents, being present there, or at least for the review of the whole thing, is imperative, because if the seller wasn't there, that could have gone completely south, and you don't want that as an agent. So yeah, home inspections is terrible.
Yeah, and that's so crazy. Yeah, like you wouldn't think there's that big of a difference between home inspectors, but there is, and it's like, and sometimes you use that to your advantage depending on what side of the deal you're on. If you want like, if you want to be super meticulous, to get like a super meticulous home inspector. If you want to, it just depends on the scenario, but it's kind of good to know who does what. Like, so it's funny when I bought my house I'm in right now, which was a new build. Um, I connected with one of our local team members who was in this area because I wasn't in this area. I asked him like, "Hey, like, who should I use for my home inspection?" He told me a guy, but he's like, "But just so you know, this guy's like super meticulous. Like, he's gonna note everything." And at first, I thought about like, do I really want to use that guy in a new home? Because like I know like he's gonna come up with a crazy laundry list. We're probably gonna piss the builder off. And I just decided, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna do it. Like use this guy. And sure enough, on a freaking new build, which if I walked in, I wouldn't have told you, like, shoot, it looks pretty good. And this guy freaking makes the longest inspection report I've ever seen. But most of them are like 20 pages. I kid you not, 65 pages.
Damn.
I don't know how he figured out how that much stuff to put on it, but like he was just nitpicking. Like if they missed a single spot of paint, it was on the freaking report. I felt so bad when I handed it to the builder, but you know what? I just asked her, "Hey, you said you'd work with us on everything, so here's everything. If you could take care of it," and they did. But I
Yeah.
could tell they weren't happy. But just yeah, there's some inspectors like it really is like someone with ADHD. They're gonna be like that. They're gonna like go with the comb through the house and put stuff on it that's not actually a deficiency, but it's like, hey, here you go.
Yeah, that's crazy. And it just dawned on me that I have so many deals with you guys. I mean, not so many, but at least 3 deals out there floating around with everyone on the YouTube and Instagram and on the team. So don't forget, I'm a resource for you guys. If you have a fixer that no one wants to buy or a house that you can't sell, at least reach out. I could see if someone wants to buy it. I have a huge network for you guys. So we could figure out a way to wholesale it. We could double close. We could do whatever. If you want to just get your deal sold, let me know. But yeah, it's good to have resources with the home inspection world. I would stay away from some of the bad ones. Just review it online before you book, and then trust other agents' referrals for sure when it comes to home inspection. But my number 4.
And hey, real quick,
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of people don't know because I've had people ask me like, sometimes it's someone with the deal. It's like, hey, do you know anyone? Like if someone has a deal that's really a deal, I'm like, shoot, you gotta send it to the Joshes. At least send it to
Yeah.
Answers and Lending Tips, and kind of get their take on it. So yeah, deals. And then a lot of it also occurred to me the other day. I think a lot of people don't realize you're licensed to loan in Florida too, right?
Yeah, we just got our first deal in Florida. We just got licensed like 3 months ago. So shout out to the Colt baby. Got our first Florida loan. Randa's in charge of that one. We just submitted it today. We'll let you know how it goes. Hopefully it goes well, and then we get more Florida deals. I posted yesterday that we lend in Florida, and I got like 4 agents reach out to me outside of this group. So we're gonna grow in Florida. I didn't realize it was such a good market until the last 24 hours. Good price points, 300,000. Like it's affordable still. Where California is kind of like $1 million your average home price. You got to put 200,000 down. They're few and far between on those transactions, but Florida seems like there's a larger market. So we're licensed in Florida, Texas, California, and Arizona. We have not lent in Arizona yet. That one seems to be a tougher market when it comes to lending. Lots of lenders out there. So if you're in Arizona and you want to try us out, I'll give you $100 million. Just joking. I don't want to get arrested.
And they're asking like they're already demanding like in North Carolina, Colorado, they're asking
North Carolina's next. South Carolina, I want to link up with a couple of the big dogs out there and get licensed. It just costs money. Like it's just $1,500 per state. I just have to have the deals come in. If I don't have the deals to make it worth it, then it's not going to tickle my fancy. So if you're an agent in those states and you want to work with me and I want to get licensed, you got to send me deals. We got to work together, build your business. Tyler and I will set up your funnels. You'll get the buyers. We'll force you to do home tours, right, Tyler? We'll get you the leads. We'll get you the leads. You just have to close them.
we can get you leads left and right if you're willing to call them when they come in and at least follow a couple simple steps.
The basics. If you're willing to do
The
the
basics.
basics in life, we're willing to
Yep.
do the basics with you. But my number 4 on that point, kind of, is my biggest pet peeve is real estate agents, and not for the reason everyone's going for. I think real estate agents are the greatest asset in the real estate world because they are the guardians of the transactions. Essentially, they're protecting people left and right, but they also have the keys to opportunities. So they see these off-market deals. They see clients who have mortgages who need a buyer. So for me, a real estate agent is kind of my lifeline. Like, I love all agents. Some of you guys are built differently. Some of you guys are not as smart as the others. Some of you guys are geniuses. Some of you guys are hard workers. Some of you are not. But you're all have a piece in my heart. But my problem with you guys, and hopefully we can change this, is that not all of you guys own homes. So I don't get that logic. But I get it if you're newer, fresher, younger. Maybe you just haven't had the opportunity to buy a house. But if you're in year 15, you shouldn't be renting anymore, Tyler. Unless you're Grant Cardone. He's like, yeah, you got to rent. You got to rent where you live, bro. I think you should own a house. I think you should go through the transaction. You should understand how it works. You should understand the ins and outs of a transaction as a buyer versus just a real estate agent or a seller, right? You get to feel exactly what a buyer feels, exactly what a seller feels, exactly what the escrow means on the other side and how they communicate with your client. Because you would be surprised at how bad the title company you work with is if you've never actually worked with them as a consumer. Or the lender you refer them to, if you've never worked with that lender hands-on with their communication, with their portals, with their upload software, with their rates, you might be referring people to nowhere, right? A bad experience overall. And I think once you go through the motions as a home buyer or a home seller, you understand the point of view from your clients. And I think, yeah, maybe you don't have to buy something to be a good agent, but I think you should go through it for your own personal wealth and your own personal kind of well-being and understanding of the industry. So correct me if I'm wrong, Tyler. I think everyone should own a home just for the sake of building wealth, but to understand the real aspects of the real estate transaction.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I'd have to agree like with it's kind of interesting. I saw all the stats because National Association of Realtors very meticulously studies all their membership, all their members. And they know exactly like what percentage of people are this, that. And to me the craziest stat I ever saw was that 95% of realtors don't invest in real estate. And a lot of them don't
90%?
95%.
Jeez.
I mean, they're not counting your personal residence as an investment in that data, but like, 95%. So they're just like active in the business. They're helping represent people and helping people navigate home ownership and investing, but they're not investing themselves. They're not utilizing real estate as the wealth building asset class it is that they're experts in. If you're an expert in real estate, to me, I don't really relate to that because like I don't think I would have gone in real estate in the first place if I didn't recognize just how powerful the wealth building vehicle it was. Like that's why I like the stock market. I felt like, it's like a shoot, like this is like playing a computer game, except if you make the right trade, you make money, actual money. And like to me, I saw real estate is a wealth building vehicle, because it's like, hey, every time I hear of a wealthy person, they're either in real estate and I don't even know what that means, or they own a lot of real estate and it's very clear what that means. But like, how do you get all the money to do that? Well, hey, there's something there. So yeah, it's an interesting thing about our industry, how most people don't really tap into that aspect of it and really do everything they can to, get their foot in the door with building equity in properties beyond the one they live in. But I mean, the one you live in is a great starting point for anyone out there, especially leveraging a FHA loan, a VA loan, if you got that, a physician's loan, if you're that kind of professional, whatever you can to get your foot in the door, to build equity. It's just because once you have that property working for you, that's some serious leverage. It's doing work for you when you're out there doing something else, and that includes us real estate professionals. Hey, we're doing commission based work. Like a property can be doing work for us too over the course of time, building and gaining equity and value.
And don't forget the fix and flips, the wholesale opportunities, the double closes, stuff like that no one really thinks about in real estate. I don't know why. Maybe they think it's just too hard to get into, but I think my goal for 2025 is to get you guys and all the real estate agents I touch to be open-minded with investing into their own wealth, right? Making a commission is probably the highest rate of return for a real estate agent. There's no question that you have to earn the income to start investing. But I want you to have 2 flips a year, right? Where you're making, say, lower margins of $50,000 per flip. You're not doing that much work. You're finding the deal because you're already doing that. You're door knocking, you're cold calling, you're talking to sellers, you're getting referrals. You see these deals. You know right when you see it, hey, this could be an off-market deal. I can't sell this on the open market. Hey, they're offering this. I could probably get it for this. I could buy it for this, fix it for this, sell it for this. Like, you should know all that. So you can get at least 2 deals a year that you're fixing and flipping. If I could tell all you guys you're going to make an extra $100,000 a year passively, you probably would all jump for joy. I think I can get that done for all you guys, right? I know my boy, Oscar, he was door knocking for me. Not really for me, just for himself, right? This was 3-4 years ago. I got Xavier. I don't know if Xavier's here, but Xavier still sends deals. He's working the off-market kind of hoarder houses, stuff like that for extra income. You guys just have to look at it as another lead source and another stream of income. You're still going to do your transactions. I want you guys to close as many real estate deals as a real estate agent as possible, because at 2% per transaction, you close 100 of those a year, you're doing good, right? The gravy on top is the flips, the other deals. Some of these deals you buy and hold and rent. But I want you guys all to get to that point, and I want to teach you guys how to do that, whether that's identifying projects. So you let me know what you see out there and what you need help with, and I'll stick it into a course. I mean, at this point, we know how to make courses for free. We'll make a one-day course, a one-day boot camp, a quick Q&A for what you guys are experiencing, and we can just build that out so you guys can all learn how to build wealth. But that's my pet peeve. Number 4, agents who don't own real estate, and my solution is to go out there and buy, learn, understand it, and become one with the market, with the industry.
Yeah, and think differently about it. I think too, like probably what's stopping a lot of people is they feel like the money isn't there, like for them to even get started with it. Like, taking your average agent according to NAR, it's like, hey, if you're making 50 grand a year in commissions, like your average agent does, where is the money to set aside to do things like that? For most people, they kind of stop there and just assume they don't have the money to do it. One of the first properties I flipped, I did it 100% with someone else's money. I found someone who had money, who didn't want to do the part that involved being on the ground and managing everything, including finding the deal. They didn't want to do that part, but they had I don't know how much money. They had money sitting around doing nothing, and they loved the idea of doing something in real estate. And so that was a perfect match. So what did I do? I found the deal, walked through the numbers, reviewed the plan with the project, and it was a private money deal. And she funded 100% of it, including the project costs at the closing table. So literally, and not everyone will do it exactly like that. But point is, it's like if you can find a deal and make the right connections, like even if you're not the money person, you're either the money person or you're the person putting it all together and making it happen. But if you got one of those two things, you can do deals.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people out there with extra cash who want to do projects. They just don't know how to. They don't know how to spot the opportunities. They don't know the crews. They just don't want to do it, but they know that it's profitable. So yeah, you would be surprised at how many people, if you talk to enough people, would be willing to assist you in that investment journey. And not every flip's going to be a slam dunk or a profitable one. You're going to learn with each one. Some of them you might have to refinance and keep. Some of them you might have to Airbnb. Some of them you might take a loss on. But I want to teach you at least the basics to know how to identify. If you get it deep enough, you can't lose. If you get it discounted enough, you can't lose. It's like one of those options that you guys buy. If you're first to see or get the news, you're going to win, right? If you can get these option contracts at a low price before they hit the market, before things happen, before there's a bidding war, you're going to win 100% of the time. And I want to help you guys identify all that. So that's my goal for 2025. That's a pet peeve of mine. Make sure that you buy real estate to solve my pet peeve. I got one more, Tyler. We got 3 minutes, okay? And I'll make this one quick. But I hate how archaic real estate is. From the MLS to the documents to the marketing that you guys send out to the mailers to the cold call. Like, it's so old school that I just don't know when we're going to turn the corner or if we're allowed to, right? I think for some odd reason, the tech in real estate is always behind. It's always slow. It makes no sense. Like, we just got DocuSign like 10 years ago. Like, I don't know where DocuSign was. I think they're year 14 or something, but real estate didn't allow electric signatures for so long. Like California, I have to sign loan docs with a notary. I don't know if that's the case everywhere, but I know there's states where you can sign your final loan docs or your grant deed with a mobile online notary. I've done it before in different states, but for some reason, California, you have to sit there with a random overweight guy or a weird girl, and we have to sign 300 pages with each other in the comfort of my own home. Like, I don't want these people in my home. Just I want to do it online. I'll show you my ID. It matches me. I guess with AI now and what's that thing where they change your face? It's kind of, you might have to avoid that. But I hate real estate because it's so archaic. But at the same time, I don't have a solution for it. I think with social media, I think we're getting better at marketing. I think we're doing the right things to move the needle. I mean, look at open houses. Number one lead source for agents still to this day. I don't know how, but that thing was made in the 1900s because they didn't have real estate agents, and that's what people would do to sell their house. They would put a sign out, and it would say open house for sale, and people would come in, and then you would start negotiating. So I don't know what the solution is here, Tyler. If you want to beg to differ, it's just an archaic industry.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to think about it like that. I've kind of gotten perspective in the sense of like I started in a big city and then I moved to like smaller markets in the meantime. And what I've like, and when I say smaller markets, I'm talking about like a 2 million population area to a 200,000 population area. And what I've noticed, and I think it's probably similar if you go from 200,000 to like 20,000 or 2,000 in a town, but it's like the smaller of an area you go to, it's like the further back in time you go to. It's just like literally, it's like I went back 5 years in terms of like how people do stuff locally. It's just like a lot more antiquated and old school, even on local levels like that. Yeah, it is kind of funny how like so much has changed yet so little has changed over the course of our industry if you really think about it.
And
But
maybe
I mean,
it's
I
just
think,
society as a whole. I don't know. Maybe we're just not as advanced as I think we are as a society. I think we've come a long way, right? I think the last greatest thing made was the cell phone, the Apple iPhone. But like I someone just told me that like in certain states it's illegal to pump your own gas. Like that's just weird to me. Like why is it illegal to pump your own gas in some states? And that goes along with some of the real estate stuff where you have to sign with a notary at your house or wherever you sign with them. Or why do things have to be recorded with the county and it takes 24 hours? Like, why can't we just upload it to a portal and it automatically does it with AI or whatever the case may be that the government has? But I don't know. It's just so old school. So some things in life are pretty old school.
yeah, you'd think that like there might be like some kind of like what blockchain solution or something of that nature.
I mean, at least people pump their own gas. What's the logic? Someone said New Jersey. What's the logic with not being able to pump your own gas? I don't get that. Is it
That's
like
crazy.
a
I didn't even
sanitation
know
thing?
that.
Yeah. So it's illegal to pump your own gas. I have an electric car. Imagine if someone was like, hey, I got to plug that in for you. I would be tripping out. I'd be like, what are you talking about, dude? I'm plugging that in myself. But yeah, I guess the electric cars was the last greatest thing ever since the iPhones. But in real estate, I can't think of anything that's come out recently that's just game changing. Besides maybe search engines like Zillow and Redfin. What do you think in real estate, Tyler? What's been game changing in the industry? And I guess EXP.
Well, you know what's crazy is like not even every like there's countries that are way more antiquated. Like, and something like I feel like I've never really been a fan of like realtor associations or the MLSs, but I think I got like some insight recently that made me appreciate them slightly more, which is like if you think about how real estate, I feel like a lot of us wouldn't even know this, but like if you go to like European countries, for instance, like if you got a listing, what you have to do to like actually get eyes on it is ridiculous. So you don't have like places like Zillow, or you don't have like places like the MLS that just syndicate it to hundreds of websites. Like that doesn't exist there. You have to like pay one off to these different portals, and it's insane how much it costs to get exposure on a listing. If so, like they don't even have systems like that over there, which is crazy. So we're actually, like even though it seems antiquated a lot of ways here, it's like we're a lot further ahead than most of the world is in terms of marketing properties and getting actual eyeballs on it, because we have these agreements where there's cooperation between all the brokers to have it all on the same platform where you can see these properties. That doesn't exist everywhere.
Yeah, there's still some cities and states, Tyler, that don't allow Redfin and Zillow, like the MLSs don't sync up or something. So I would zoom in on like certain cities in Redfin. It'd be like, oh, Redfin doesn't operate in this area. Like what? Like how? It's just a plug and play with the MLS. Like, so there's probably a law or a rule. So even the Redfin and Zillows of the world are still not even up to where we should be. Like we should be touring houses with our Google glasses or our Meta VR at this point in life. But I don't think we're ever going to get there in my lifetime. It's moving too slow. But that's my top 5 things I hate and love about real estate and kind of the solutions. I don't have a solution to the last one. I think I just have to wait it out. I'll be that 70-year-old agent who finally gets to see the blockchain take effect and not have to deal with a title rep and delays and closings and loan docs and notaries. So I think time will be the dictator of that one. But those were my top 5. Tyler, I appreciate you bantering with me. Anyone else have anything after thinking all this? Any questions, concerns? I know you guys got something. You can't just listen to me.
I got one.
Oh, here we go. Who's that?
It's Boatsky.
What's up, dog?
Appraisers, man. Appraisers. I hate them.
Yes.
They're the worst.
Yes.
Pointless,
right?
Yeah, dealing with the situation. I live in the States. Mom lived in Canada. I don't want to get into the details anyways. Got her a place here. Now getting her a place in Canada again. It's a long story. But we bought this place here. Got it appraised. We got it for $340. Got it appraised. I thought it shouldn't be that much. Came in at $340. We were surprised. The agent too, or like whatever. She's ended up moving back for some reason. Some reasons I don't want to really get into right now. But we're trying to sell it. We did a bunch of improvements to it, so we're trying to sell it. It was like 6 months ago, and we listed it for like 25 over, which is crazy. So like we were listing it for 365 or 370. We got a buyer. Absolutely would want to pay like 400 for it. Has to get an FHA. Gets it appraised. The appraiser asks crazy personal questions. What are you using the money for? Like, where are you from? What country are you from? Like, why are you here? Where are you going after this? And we're like, kind of like, why? Like, it's none of your business, really, what we want to use the money for. Like, doesn't matter. Like, it's none of your business. We prefer not to answer. I guess got pissed off at us and appraised the house for $5,000 less than what we bought it for 6 months ago. Screwed this poor family. I felt awful for them. Sucked for us, but this family was just dead set on having this property. Just really wanted it. They were in love with it, and they just had to bail on it because they couldn't come up with the cash.
And that's one of those things where they have AVMs, automated value systems, online. Like they do way better than an appraiser does. Like even on my fix and flips, I have to pay $800 for an appraiser to go out there and take pictures. $800. Even on these loans, if we don't get an appraisal waiver, the client has to pay $650 to go get an
Yeah.
appraisal, just to go there and measure. They don't even measure. They like just take
Yeah.
the notes offline anyway. So yeah,
And it
that's
sticks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
FHA sticks. So now for 3 months, we just had to sit and hope that nobody came around for an FHA
what
loan,
a dumb
right?
rule. VA and FHA, once you get an appraisal done, it sticks with the property for 90 days. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. And the other crazy thing is we had a friend who was doing VA appraisals. And so my agent was like, he just asked him, he was curious, can you just do like an appraisal on this property, like unofficial?
Yeah.
Whatever. He brought it in at 365, not 335. So I was like, and there's no way we can contest it. We reached out to the bank. We tried to get in touch with that. And this appraiser is known to do this, right? This is because we have a couple people in town who know this person.
Yeah.
And she's done this to everyone. Asks personal questions, makes a decision of whether they deserve the money or not. And then basically
you've seen the news
gives it to
clips
them
where
or
the
not.
appraiser like lowballs a value because they saw it was like a African American couple or a Hispanic
Yeah.
couple in the pictures, and then they had someone else go and they removed the pictures and it came in at value, like or higher values. It's
Yeah.
just it's a dumb industry. I don't know if I am allowed to admit this, but back in the heyday, you would just tell your appraiser, hey, here's $800. This is my contract. This is what I need
Yep.
to make it happen. Now it's like there's too much hands in the cookie jar when it comes to appraising, and there's no rule book. There's no set in stone guidelines. Everyone's out there doing their own things, pulling their own comps.
Yep.
There's nothing set in stone. Then there's this underwriter at the bank. Oh gosh, don't get me started with underwriters at the bank. Now they translate their own set of underwriting rules with this property, and then they ding it and say, oh, there's termite issues here. There's a broken chipped drywall here. It needs to be fixed. It's like such a headache. But yeah, I appreciate the appraiser rant.
Yeah, just a little ranting there.
Yeah.
I've been dealing with that for like 4 months.
Well, I know how you feel, man. I deal with that almost on a monthly basis with these appraisers. It's the biggest hurdle besides the home inspection in a real estate transaction, and humans, right? You're worried about inspection and you're worried about appraisals for some odd reason when you shouldn't. You should be able to look online and see what the value is instantly, have a good software that runs that stuff for you. With AI, that should be possible in the next 2 or 3 years. Inspections, I get. Everyone wants a perfect home, so I can't really escape that. But hopefully sooner than later, some AI tool will come in and inspect the property with a laser. All right, that's it for me. I got to go. Camera guy charges overtime. It's $5:09. I owe him $9. I appreciate Jake by State Farm. It looks like Jake from State Farm donated $1.49. Jason, you are rich, bro. You are rich. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. You can find me on Instagram, Don't Buy Real Estate. Shoot me your deals. Shoot me your questions. We have the course at school.com/DBR. We have the new wholesale boot camp. I need feedback on that. So text me if you want the link for that. But it should be in the original school that you can kind of click on. But I'm here for you guys. My goal in life for 2025 is to get you guys all into the investment space. Get an off-market deal, flip it yourself, wholesale it yourself, make some money off of it, get an Airbnb. So I appreciate you guys being here. Until next Tuesday. Tyler, I'll see you next Tuesday.